serve our community. We thank you, Lord, for each and every individual who is here today. We ask, Lord, that you just give us a sound mind, Lord. Lord, just keep us guided, Lord, so that we know how to take care of our community. And Lord, help us to make this the best election season that we've ever had in this county. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Donna, do you mind calling the roll, please? Debbie Conrad. Here. Freddie.
Yep.
I was trying to say Fred Vivian. Fred and Barry.
Here.
Bobby.
Here.
And myself, President and Jeff.
Got everybody.
We got everybody.
Everybody.
Has everybody got their minutes of the previous meeting? I'll entertain a motion to approve. I'll make a motion. All those in favor? Right. The administrator's report. Jeff, you're up.
Okay, I went to the state seminar about 3 weeks ago. It was just a day-long thing. I think next year they're going to put it back to 3 days because it was like drinking from a fire hose. It was a lot of information jammed into a very short period of time. And they actually, who wants to do the 3 day instead of the 1 day? So it looks like that's what's going to happen next year. It'll be a longer, a little more thorough seminar. There was a lot of information shared. There's a lot of redundancy, I guess, a lot of repeated stuff, but there was some discussion about Bureau of Ethics and Finance. There was a little change there that has to do with the candidates and the fishbowl contributions. They really had some good information on poll worker training. I took a lot of notes in that, and I'm going to revise. As a matter of fact, I have been revising my training program. We're not going to train blanket anymore. We're going to train for a position. And my officers are going to have about 3 hours worth. Had some officer problems last time, and I'm going to make sure that that's not going to be an issue again. It's one of those things, kind of like that sign right there. It says, experience is something that you don't get till just after you need it. Yeah. And I thought we could do this blanket, and some people do. But it looks to me like an individual training for each position would be a more thorough way to train those people. And one fellow's not sitting here listening to what another fellow's job is. So, going to revise that, rework the PowerPoint a lot, and got some, of course I've got to replace Fred as an officer, and I think I've got had one come in the other day that's a retired postal worker that knows how to deal with stress.
Oh, wow.
And pretty sure I'm going to use her. Mr. Trainer next door is interested. He is a lawyer. And an Army vet, so he's probably going to be pretty good at stress. So I've got 2 good replacement officers there, because I'm not sure that if Mr. Ray is going to be able to do that again. He said he didn't know if he, with his age, if he'd be able to pull that off again. So just trying to keep options open. My plan is to have more, an abundance of poll workers, because it has never failed in the 3 elections that I've been involved in that people call in the day of the election, and then you're so I'm going to have some reserves this time and tell them, hey, by your phone, there's a possibility, and that way we can have a full complement of poll workers and have some people that can relieve other people if they need a break or something like that, instead of just enough. Still having problems finding enough Democrats. I'm resolved to the fact that we're probably going to have a minimum of 1 Democrat at each polling station, because we're just not having any luck.
Who is the chairman of the Democrat Party?
Lisa Rock.
Lisa. Lisa Rock? Okay, she's young, isn't she?
No,
No.
ma'am.
No?
It's
No,
not the
different
Lisa
Lisa.
Rock that we know.
It's not.
It's
a
a young
different
lady
one.
that's moved in from here from somewhere else.
They was,
Retired military.
It was a pretty good block on restoration of rights for felons. We've had several come in here and register, and then we find out, oh, I'm restored, and they're not, from other states. Well, here's my text message from. I'm sorry, but that's not how we do it here. So we got a pretty good lesson on how to get reimbursed for this primary coming up, because it's completely and totally paid for by the federal government since it's a presidential primary. So this will be at no cost to the county, which was the reason I was able to get the budget to where I had it because of that. Because elections are expensive, but they pay for everything. We are at letter M in our files. We're organizing the files and scanning in all the documentation, but there was actually some done in the bottom drawer because of we were running low of cards, and until we were doing the smaller categories, the smaller letters, just to keep that rolling. So we're done by election time. Possibility. There's a whole lot of people in this county. His last name starts with M.
Oh, yeah.
But you're welcome to look at that and see what see the improvement. Matter of fact, that's going to be one of our roundtable discussions today is the scanning of documents and that sort of thing, and keeping the clutter down. I talked to the fire chief about putting a burn barrel out here for destroying old documents, because there is a lot. The ballots are still in the machines from the last election because I don't have nowhere to put them. So when that happens, I'll need a Democrat and a Republican up here to witness the burning, and it's going to be one of those things where we can dump some in and get them started, put a screen over the top of it, and some lawn chairs and some hot dogs and marshmallows. But that has to be a bipartisan witness to make sure that, but the old 5 boxes of old registration cards, old election material, things like that,
There's a lot of them.
It's a lot of it. It's past time for them to go. I called the state. We can't go to the landfill and have them dig a hole.
No.
They have to be either shredded or burnt. And the shred truck's expensive.
It is.
And the shredder at the courthouse ain't big enough unless somebody wants to sit for a year up there and dump the bag every 20 minutes. So that's the best solution I'm able to come up with. I'll buy a barrel, holes in the bottom of it, and get a screen on the top of it, and we'll just set it up right out back
I
right
have a
there.
barrel that you can have.
You got a barrel?
Good.
Problem solved. So that'll be something, and I'll try to make sure it's a decent date, and if it's not, we'll just put it off. But I can have all the documents locked up and ready to go out the door, and we'll just carry them out a box at a time.
If you'll let me know, I'll record it so then you don't have any drama.
Absolutely. Good idea.
That's a good idea.
Set up a camera over it, and the whole world can watch what's going on.
Henderson County went and did some burning, and it took them 2 days solid in a fire pit, very large fire pit that they had fabricated in Steuben. I don't think it's going to take that for us. Maybe just a day, but y'all know if you throw water papers in something, that it'll go out.
Right. And then you
And
have
the inside stuff's still there, so I bring us a cold or something to stir it up so we can get all this completely destroyed. I don't want any question whatsoever.
I need to get MacGyver on that, because if he could do something that stirred that,
That would be great.
so that, he has a rotisserie that he built on the back of the cooker. If he could get that to just kind of
Keep it stirred.
Honestly, you want to know the easiest way is make a bigger hole in the bottom of it. get you a piece of pipe, and then get you a leaf blower, and the wind turning it will make a vortex. It'll stir itself and it'll burn everything. How we burn prescription drugs that are donated in that box at the police department, we have a special burn barrel just for those.
Wow.
Bad idea. So I burnt stovepipe and leaf blower. Hey, lay it, set stovepipe up with the elbow down, put the leaf blower in it, blowing right down on
You
that
probably
stuff,
could,
burn it underground.
Drug Task Force is in charge of it. You probably could make a phone call to them and borrow their barrel.
And it already has a hole in it for that
It,
purpose.
so the Drug Task Force's barrel has the leaf blower actually sits on top of the barrel, and then it is articulated with a hinge. So then you load stuff in, and you close it back up, and you just let it sit, and it does its own thing, and it destroys medicine all day long.
I need to look at that.
Yeah.
I
Then
am,
it's possible to borrow that.
I know over in New Johnsonville, we borrowed it all the time from Drug Task Force. Every time we needed to clean out our medicine locker. So I don't see why that we couldn't, or they couldn't let us borrow it for a day or two.
Or if we could just look at it, Walter could fix it.
Yeah.
Personal note, in 2 days I will officially no longer be in the Air Force. Working on retirement stuff. But that's all she wrote.
Thank you for your
27
service
years.
and your many sacrifices.
27
Being away
years.
from
And it's-
parents and
It is, it's sad.
I was going to ask if you had mixed feelings about it.
Oh, it's sad. I just, they actually, I went into the Twisted Dough the Monday after my last drill and got me a piece of cake. Building up immunity to diabetes. And the next time I went in there, they just gave me one and said, "Here, this is for your retirement. We talked about your depression for 3 days." You know, when you're Sergeant Beasley for so long, and then all of a sudden you're just not. And I got a lot of great friends up there. You know, it's tough. I know now why my granddaddy had a handkerchief when he retired from TVA. He didn't do what they do now. Anyway, that's all I've got. Next meeting we will set and test machines for the March presidential preference primary. So it will probably be a long day-ish. I'll have everything as prepared as I can. Have the seals ready. All the ballot boxes will be open. All we'll have to do is look at them, close them, lock them, seal them, record the numbers. And there'll be 2 ballot boxes going. Oh, also, the state contacted me about, there was, years ago when they bought our machines and wanted the paper ballots. No, it wasn't a mandatory thing in the state. Now it is. And their email said, since your county purchased these machines early and paid the lion's share of the cost, and we've had to grant money to these counties for machinery, it's not fair that you not get money. What do you need? So I got us 2 ballot-on-demand printers. We will not have the problem that we had before.
Very good. That'll do a lot.
We will not have that problem again. Not that we're going to need them, but if we do, we got them.
awesome.
And it's at no cost. So they should be here sometime next month. And it was just grant money from the state. And
Well, we need to get together before do you know when they're going to update, Harvey's going to update our machines?
they already
do it
did a
all.
software update to speed them up. And then, of course, when they come in, that wasn't something that had to be.
No one ever did.
It
They
was just a software update. But
well, we need to get together and empty those machines.
I'll have them
sometime.
empty when the time is come, because we got to get some stuff out of the way before I got somewhere to put it. There's lots of boxes of documents.
There's a lot that needed to be shredded a long time ago that are back there.
Well, and they're kind of hesitant about the 2020 documentation. So we've been advised to hang on to that, even though it is legally time that we could do it. But I think it's still a good idea. You know, when they say you need to hang on to it, use your discretion. I think that means hang on to it. So we'll sit on that and.
I think we had a little bit that was before that.
Well, we got lots before that. We got 2018 documents. There's some 2016 documents back there. We got a lot of stuff we can get rid of and clear those shelves out and make some room, because that's the one thing. And when they get done with the old Ray Smith building out here, my information is that they're going to move juvenile services to the basement. Moving the RSV out and taking them down there, and we're going to get that side of the building as well. So we'll have a bigger room for our meetings. We'll have a bigger room for our
So they're going to move them downstairs.
We'll have that big room for our early votings, which will be absolutely phenomenal. We can bring them down the hall and bring them in that lower door. They can come through and go out this door and outside, and hopefully people won't be lined up standing out in the weather. Down the hallway.
And it'll be a better flow.
It'll be a better flow. It's not as cramped. You got a door in, a door out instead of one door. It'll make the process a lot smoother. We'll have to get some computer stuff where we can hook it up over there. I'll get with you on that when the time comes. My hope is that we can put 2 laptops so we can process 2 lines of early voters at a time.
Good.
Which would also speed the process up. One at a time. When there's a long line, it's a backup, and then you always have the problem if you have a real long ballot. We're not going to have that problem this election season. The ballot's going to be pretty short because there's only 6 school board, property assessor, 1 commission seat, and then your presidential candidates, and maybe some house. It ain't gonna be anything like that one that was full page front and back. That was horrific. So that's all I got. Anybody got any questions for me?
And you did say 2 machines for printing ballots.
2, they're called ballot on demand. And when I order the ballots, I will order a case of ballot paper to go along with that. But we're not going to run out of ballots.
They won't have that problem where they won't scan.
No, they will. Those printers are specifically for that, so they won't be that issue. Henderson County has had them, and he said we have at times printed on ballots. They have like a city election or something like that. They print their own ballots. He said we tried to do it for a big election. He said worked us to death. He said we were there for hours and hours and hours and hours. And he said it's just not worth it. So. We do have possibly some sort of something small pops up, then we'll be able to do our own ballots rather than have to order them. But for regular election season like we have, I think we'd still be better off to just have that printed for us, and then we'll always have that printer for ballots for a backup in case we start running low. And that's one thing that I have added to the PowerPoint. Should you get to 100 ballots and we're going to flag the bottom 100, we need to know. Don't call me and say I got 19 ballots left. Because that was I mean, it's my fault. But when you call me at Big Sandy and say I've got 19 ballots left, and it's a 15-minute drive down there.
And that's if you fly and don't run into any traffic.
I flew. Janet said, "Can you make it?" And I said, "You want to ride?" She decided she didn't want to. Burned about a quarter tank of fuel in my big truck. But the black smoke was rolling. That's all I got. We got to do our registration inspection. Sorry, I almost went Baptist on you and got a little bit long-winded.
No, that's fine. Okay. So who wants to take, these are them, right, guys? How about if I take A and B? Bobby, what
Wait on
No, that was what he was talking about.
We got an inspection form ready.
Down there, what do you want?
It don't matter, just give me a handful.
You want S&T?
Be good.
You only have to look at 10% of them. so.
Yeah. Mandatory 10%. Now, that's a new form, Mary, so we
He said
may
he'd
want.
take
I already
S&T.
printed it, I think.
Yeah,
That's the girl right there.
Have we got a lot of new people coming in and registering to vote that moved in here, or?
Nah, it kind of varies.
It's kind of slowed down a
We
little
did
bit.
get a guy that moved here from New Zealand.
Do you have any people come in from California? Because there's a lot of new people that's moved in here from California. We're seeing a lot of them.
Yes, and y'all are gonna fire me as an employee because when they tell me they're from California, I say, well, welcome to the neighborhood, but keep California in California.
You know what? That's the reason a lot of them have moved here because
They actually have.
well, the homeless people are taking over their yards.
They actually have T-shirts in Nashville, on California, not Tennessee.
There's billboards on that
They've
even.
done that in Oregon for years.
Okay, here you go, S&T.
Don't come up here telling me how to run my state.
Yep.
Let's see, where do you want? Just give you some leads and give you some W's. And I'll take some W's.
We gotta make sure how many we counted each, we do.
Yeah. Yeah, keep a count of how many you do. Because when we put our percentage on there, we have to be doing 10%. Now, y'all probably have more than 10% of the money on that.
I try to do them in a sequence so that,
They go back in there in order.
well, so that, when I print that card, it always has a signature because you have to copy the signature from one part to the other for it to show up on that card. So if you catch one that I got out of sequence, I can fix that real easy.
We're getting away from the paper because it does not work well in our file system.
Right.
You lose one, it'll be, so we're going all to the hard cards.
We're supposed to be counting these, right? How many we've done.
Just that, yeah, because I gotta figure out how many we've got to make sure, but I'm sure y'all got more than 10% out of there. I mean, the thing was more than,
Is a phone number required?
no,
Okay.
What about?
I'm glad to see that the phone number is not required because, you know, last time we had some problems with some people that had voted, you know, early, and their phone numbers were put out on social media. And, you know, and I had people calling me saying they didn't think that was right. That
you think
their-
you had them calling you, they
I
want
bet
this
the
office
phones were
out.
ringing, yeah.
But that's actually personal identifiable information that's not
The only thing that we
releasable to the
can,
public.
the only thing,
Well, if you're real
it's up
smart,
to you
you
whether
can
you
get
put
on
it
the
on
web page
there.
and find their house and everything.
But it's up to you whether you put that information on there or not. Everything in here except for social security numbers, at least.
Do they have to put the name and address of their last voter registration?
No,
No.
ma'am, that's not required. Because some of them have never voted before.
Gotcha.
We have had a lot of that. We had a guy come in here that I know he was in his 60s, and his wife finally talked him into registering to vote.
Yay.
Sign that.
Okay, so if they don't have a
And I just
signature,
wrote your name and sign under.
it doesn't count, right?
Yes, you do have to have a signature.
There they are.
Is there no signature?
I don't think there's
No,
anyone in
this
there
one.
with them though.
That's
It's
probably,
not.
I was gonna get to the sign.
got one with no signature there. Probably copied it, didn't you?
No problem. I can fix it when Miss Donna's done with the chart.
We get so few online voter registrations and things like that. I mean, sometimes we'll have a pretty good list of matching social security numbers. But as soon as Mary gets done with that, she goes in that file and starts, and she's head down all day long working on those things. It's monotonous, I'm sure, and that's probably how that signature got missed getting copied. It would drive me nuts to sit there and do that all day.
Who said I wasn't?
a short drive for me.
When you say you're getting rid of paper, you're not talking about ballots or anything else. You're just converting it from paper to hard copy cards.
Yeah.
Just the registration cards will be an actual card instead of a floppy piece of paper.
When the DMV does that, they print it off on a piece of paper. And it is not user friendly in any way. And so we can scan that to a hard copy. It's still their signature. It just scanned to a more rigid material.
I just know you guys are using hot button, topics of, we're getting rid of paper. You
Right.
need to explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, we're not getting rid of paper ballots.
You look to see like they're
You're really not getting rid of paper. You're just converting it from one type of paper to a different type of paper that's more user friendly.
Yes, sir. A thicker.
Yeah.
Yeah, these
How many did you have, Mr. Fred?
8.
we need some more.
Well, you just gotta see how many we got.
How many did you have, Miss Donna?
Wait.
Did you get those other ones that you laid down there?
Yeah, I just kept them separate, so when we put them back in, we don't have them mixed up.
I had 39. I've got just 2 that doesn't have signatures.
12.
Well, I know 39 is at least 10%, so I don't think it's 390 in that box.
But we gotta write the total
Yeah.
that they did on here anyways.
You were talking about retiring out of the military, you can't even get people to join anymore.
I know.
They just,
Our military is nowhere near what it used to be.
They have actually raised the enlistment date to 42 years of age. And after I got my stuff started, they raised the retirement out of the Guard to 62. When my stuff was already started right in the state.
So we just turn them upside down.
yeah, but I've been seeing things on my phone that, if you're a senior citizen, you can join the military again. And I guess they'll give you some kind of job at like a reserve area or something.
All of mine.
Mine more changes that, those, it's just a matter of the name.
I know one of my lieutenant colonel friends.
Signature on
He's retired or he's inactive, and he got papers saying that he could very well be reactivated at any moment, and
it.
they renewed his security clearance. Yeah.
Pack your bag.
I didn't realize that once you're at that level of an officer, you're owned by the government. There is no retirement for you.
Until he gets 60 or 62.
Oh, he's over that. They still sent him a letter and said
What's his OCD?
His rank.
he's a lieutenant colonel, but he writes war plans.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, while Ward's finishing up, Fred, I want to thank you on behalf of the commission for stepping in when Walter
Absolutely.
had his
I did 14.
episode. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's something that some of y'all may not know. I was doing AT up at Nashville. Walter had issues with his heart and had to be admitted in the hospital for 3 days. And Fred come up and helped Fort down.
Really appreciate it.
Rank off you.
yeah.
Petted a cat.
Yeah, Fred the cat.
How many,
Okay,
Bob?
anything else?
16,
We got anything else?
16. Everything okay, Lawrence?
Yes.
Did you get that, Mary?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So we should be well
How many
over-
was that total?
89.
So that should be
And
well.
only 2 issues.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
well over.
Really, that's really good. Only 2 issues. I saw nothing else. Did anybody else find anything wrong, Barry? No. But I appreciate y'all willing to serve. We're going to have a busy year next year. We just got to
Stay with us.
stay with it.
I told
We
him
got to
in
have
the-
all of us to show up.
I told them at the seminar, they kept talking about the presidential election. I
I'm
said,
gonna
y'all
call
making it
you
sound like we're gonna
like
take a high
Brad
risk
Pitt
pollution
does.
during combat.
hospital
Yeah,
or something.
I did.
I said, keep in mind, we're not gonna have the COVID problems that we had last time, hopefully. You know, 2020 was a bad year because of all the extras that had to be added to it. Now, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be, pull your hair out tough, but, and I'll be glad when it's over.
So can I be a member of the public for just a minute?
Yes, absolutely. I was gonna say I'll open the floor to the public.
So as the member of the public, which I know I'm kind of a unique special person here on that, but as public, John Q. Public here, have y'all heard about how the commission filed a paper to the state about the ballots, and have the state
Yes.
responded to you guys, or have you responded to the state about that inquiry?
There was no response from the state. There was, other counties had the same issue. The numbers of people that voted on election day was far and above what the normal ratio was compared to early vote. And that's because Philoman told everybody your early vote's not gonna count. All of us know that votes. State of Tennessee is number one in voter integrity in the nation. 85% of our population in the state of Tennessee believes that our elections are done properly.
Yeah.
There's that 15% that's out there saying no, and they listen to the bill. I think his heart's in the right place, but he's not under the understanding that every state has different election laws. Every state has there's drive-up registration and voting the same day. Ballot harvest and all this other stuff. Those are all recipes for disaster, okay? You shouldn't be able to, in my opinion, you shouldn't be able to drive up to a window, register to vote, and vote that day. There's no way to vet that vote. You shouldn't be able to go out and collect ballots and throw them in a big box. You don't know who's throwing them in there.
Right.
It's all recipes for disaster. Those practices should be made illegal, in my opinion. That's my personal opinion. The way Tennessee does it is not foolproof by no means, but it is close to foolproof as you're going to get.
I read an article that said Tennessee had some of the most accurate election results.
Number one in the country. Number one in the whole country. And that was an independent company doing a poll throughout the nation of every state, unbeknownst to the election commissions of those states. And they come to Tennessee and said, y'all got the best record of anybody.
And that says a lot.
That says a lot. Now, if we could just get that 15% of the population to come see it, be a part of it. And if you think it's crooked, come work it. You'll see it's not.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good fix for that.
Guys, we need everybody in the state, country, world to vote
Yes, we do.
right now.
Mm-hmm.
We are in a,
Trouble.
It's,
I never thought that I'd be old enough to see this.
well, it's like when before the last election, I keep getting all these emails. I want your cast ballot record. Well, we don't keep that. We don't have that. Yes, you do. No, we don't. And it was all about ES&S machines. We don't have ES&S machines. And it's all because one person gets a podcast going and spreads information that may pertain to areas, but it doesn't pertain to all of them, especially here. And I just have to say, look, I'm sorry. I can't give you something I don't have. It's not a record that we keep. Our machines doesn't keep a tally of that. You're welcome to this, and this, but what you're asking me for, I can't give you because I don't have it. And there is a lower of the bad information that's out there, and people are eating it like candy, and that's a problem. There's
Well,
good
so
information.
so many things have happened.
It's
There's a lack of trust.
There's a horrible lack, and
huge-
you can't blame people for that.
No.
I don't blame people for lack of trust, but it's like we had one guy come in here one day, and he was he was asking questions, and he stood here for an hour and a half, and I explained the whole process from beginning to end, and he said, okay, I'm satisfied. I said, good, that's what we want. We want you to feel comfortable with the results that we're gonna give you. I don't want you to have any question that Jeff Beasley and the Benton County Election Commission is tampering, screwing around with, anything. I said, the laws overlap each other. The process is written stone. It's just things that, if you follow the procedure, your numbers are gonna be right. And I said, I don't know where
I think if anybody came up and watched, like you said, they would realize that there's not a way to throw an election. Right.
Well, that's what one administrator said. He said, anytime anybody comes in my office and starts making a bunch of questions, he said, I just hand them my application to work phones. So here, this is the best way for you to learn
Oh,
this
wow.
and see.
That's a good idea.
And that's what I'm going to start doing. Here, you can see that we're not doing this in a untrustworthy way. See how the process. But it's the same if people that's never worked in public and they go and they jump all over a waitress for the food being bad. The waitress didn't fix the food. The cashier at the store didn't not mark the product, but that's the ones that catch the chewing. So if they come and work it and see how the process works, then they won't be near it as quick to throw stones.
I think a lot of people are so ignorant because they won't ask questions. They just assume what they hear out in the world or whatever that's the
Well,
truth.
contrary to popular belief, just because it's on YouTube or the internet, it ain't all right.
No.
It's just the way it is.
Well, sadly,
There's as many bad out there as there is good.
Tennessee is not sadly on Tennessee's part, Tennessee is the above average right now. Because there are other places that are a little weird.
Oh,
I mean,
Illinois, Pennsylvania.
how do you register day of?
There are places.
If you register here and then drive to the next county and you've got bogus information as to where you live, all you have to do is give them light bills and stuff.
Right.
But what that comes down to,
You vote twice.
or 4 or 5 times. What that comes down to, though, because if you get drive up voting and you got a fake ID, you can pull up and you can go vote at 5, 6 different districts in these big cities. And they're never going to know the difference because they got so many votes going through. But all it comes down to is who's in control of their commission, who's in control of their state house, whether they want to do this. Because all these things, like I said, it is a recipe for disaster. It's a surefire way to have fraud in your election. When you can take a truckload of ballots that you've driven around and picked up, or whatever, and dump them in a box, and somebody from Election Commission comes and gathers those ballots and they count those. I'm sorry. That's got fraud written all over it.
I mean, in Tennessee, Grandma can't even sign for Papaw.
No.
Right.
I mean, just to run for an office, you can't have Grandma sign for Papaw. It has to be Papaw. So
Yeah,
on
no matter
voting
if it
day,
looks
it
like
definitely
it.
has to be him. So I mean,
It's
you
gotta
know,
be
it's not,
that person.
it's different.
You all done?
Anything else? Thanks.
John,
Thanks
keep
to
up
all
with
of
me.
y'all.
Nope.
Well, yes, thanks Scott for coming and reporting. Thank you,
I make a motion to
Mary.
adjourn.
I make a motion. You go ahead.
I make a motion to
I'll
adjourn.
second. All in favor? Meeting is adjourned. Be careful going.
I made it.
You gotta let
Put
him
him up.
You gotta let you out.